Brook Scientists. Good afternoon. I'm Miss Pearson and I'm so excited to have you back with me for science today. And I'm so excited that I now get to call you all scientists because I listened to your recordings and I heard some wonderful stories about how you all have acted as scientists and you did some observation or you saw something or noticed something, and then you asked questions about it, and then you investigated until you found answers to that question. So way to be scientists, and thank you for sharing that story. I actually want to share a story with you today because I need some help figuring out something that I observed and have many questions about. So yesterday, I went to an apple orchard. Show me a sign if you remember going to an apple orchard in kindergarten. Yeah, when we went and we got to pick all those cool apples. That was so fun. But anyway, I went to another apple orchard because I wanted some apples to have as a snack during break time this week. And I picked these two beautiful apples. And I knew that they were both apples. I got them at the apple orchard. They were both from apple trees. They were both red. They both had the stem. But as I was observing these apples, I noticed that these apples actually don't really look alike at all. They look so different. You want to see? Here, I'm going to show you a picture of them. Okay, here are my apples. I knew they were both apples. They both have those black stems at the top. They both came from a tree. They both are red. And when I bit into them, they both tasted like an apple, although one was a little sweeter than the other. And they both had a core. But look at them. They're also so different. You know, and then I realized as I was looking around that there were a lot of objects that are supposedly the same objects, but also have a lot of differences. For example, I went to a field and I looked at some sunflowers and some roses. Now, sunflowers and roses are both flowers, and because of that, they're similar in a lot of ways. They have some things that are the same about them. For example, they both have a long stem, and they have some leaves, and they grow in the grass. But sunflowers and roses look so different. They have so many things about them that are not the same. For example, a sunflower is yellow, and a rose is red. So then, I was confused. And I had a question. I was wondering, how can there be so many things, so many of the same objects that have lots of similarities, but also have so many differences? So that made me think of Ada Twist's favorite question. Why? And then I remembered I have all of these smart Brook Scholar scientists that I can ask this question to, and they can help me figure it out and investigate. So that's what we're going to do for the next couple of weeks. We are going to investigate why two objects can have lots of similarities, but also have lots of differences. And I want to start that investigation today. So I need your help. Your mission today is to look around your house and try to find two of the same things. So it could be two apples, two blueberries, two toys, two leaves. And they don't have to be exactly the same, but they have to be very similar, like my apples. But I also want you to observe the differences between those two similar objects. So, for example, you might find 2 blueberries that are both blue, and they're both small, but one tastes super sweet, and the other one tastes sour. Or, if that's tricky, think about the people in your house. You know, we all have families that have people in our families. We all have people in our families. And I want you to think of 2 people in your family and think about what's similar between them. Like maybe they both have a nose, or they both have ears, or they both have 2 eyes. But also what's different about them. Like one has long hair and one has short hair. Or maybe one has brown eyes and the other one has a different color eyes. Or maybe one's really tall and one's really short. So think about what's similar about these 2 objects. What is the same or something that's the same between those 2 objects? And then think about what's something that's different between those 2 objects, something that is not the same. And then what I want you to do is go on Seesaw and take a picture of those 2 things so that I can see those 2 objects. And then I want you to record yourself telling me 2 similarities between those 2 objects and 2 differences. Now, if Seesaw's a little bit tricky, what you can do is go in your yellow bag and take out your science folder. Inside your science folder, there is a green science workbook. I want you to make sure you have to make sure you have your name on your notebook. But then I want you to turn to the very first page. And I want you to draw your 2 objects and write 2 similarities on the first 2 lines and 2 differences on the bottom 2 lines. Okay? And then when you finish with that, you can go on Seesaw and take a picture of what you drew. So you have 2 options. You can either go on Seesaw and draw your 2 objects and record yourself telling the difference, or you can write it in your science journal and then go on Seesaw and just take a picture of what you wrote in your journal. The second option is a really good idea if it's a little tricky for you to draw on Seesaw. Okay, I cannot wait to see if you guys are observing the same thing that I'm observing. And you're finding 2 objects that have lots of similarities, but also differences. All right, have a great weekend, friends.